Someone in your camp just stole your food. Or worse, they're becoming dangerous, unpredictable. The kind of person who makes everyone flinch when they walk into the clearing. There's no police officer to call, no judge, no courtroom. It's 50,000 years ago, and you and about 30 other people are the only law that exists. So what happens next? Most people assume the answer is chaos. That primitive humans lived by pure survival instinct until civilization showed up and invented justice. That assumption is wrong. Long before cities, before writing, before a single law was ever carved into stone, hunter-gatherer bands were running a justice system so structured, so consistent across cultures with zero contact with each other, that anthropologists studying it today call it startlingly sophisticated. Today we're breaking down exactly how it worked, and what got lost when we upgraded to written law. First, the setting. These bands numbered maybe 20 to 50 people, and everyone knew everyone. There was no anonymity, no second neighborhood to build a fake reputation in. The group was your entire world, which meant your standing inside it wasn't just social, it was existential. Lose your reputation, and you didn't just lose face. You lost access to food sharing, allies, protection, everything standing between you and a brutal solo existence. Anthropologist Christopher Boehm spent decades documenting this in his book Hierarchy in the Forest, analyzing 48 hunter-gatherer societies across the globe. His discovery: these groups weren't anarchic. They were fiercely, deliberately egalitarian, enforced through what he called a reverse dominance hierarchy. In most primate groups, the strong dominate the weak. Hunter-gatherers flipped it. The collective dominated the individual. Try to hoard resources or grab too much power, and the whole group closed ranks against you. And here's a subscribe-worthy insight most people never hear. This enforcement ran on 4 escalating stages, and they show up almost identically in cultures separated by oceans and millennia. If you're finding this as fascinating as I did researching it, hit subscribe. There's a lot more history hiding in plain sight like this. Stage 1. Gossip. Not idle chatter, a functioning early warning system. Long before anyone confronted an offender, the community had already built quiet consensus through countless small conversations. Studies of the Kung San, the Hadza, and Aboriginal Australian groups all show the same pattern. Often, that alone was enough. The offender could feel the shift in temperature and corrected course before anything more happened. Stage 2. Public ridicule. If gossip didn't work, the group confronted the behavior openly, naming it, mocking it, in front of everyone. This wasn't minor embarrassment. It was a formal downgrade of your status, witnessed by the whole band. One striking version: successful hunters who bragged about their kills were mocked, not praised, because claiming personal credit looked like a bid for power, and power was exactly what the group existed to prevent any one person from accumulating. Stage 3. Ostracism. In a modern city, being shunned is unpleasant, but survivable. In a Paleolithic band with the next human group weeks away, exclusion was a death sentence on a delay. It started subtly, resources arriving a little less reliably, allies a little less available, and could escalate to the band literally moving camp without you. Stage 4. Execution. This is the part people find hardest to believe. Boehm found documented cases of community-sanctioned killing across dozens of cultures, applied only after every earlier stage had failed. For repeated, unprovoked violence or predatory behavior, the person refused to stop. Crucially, it was never one person's decision. The entire adult community reached consensus, and the act was carried out collectively, which is precisely why it wasn't classified as murder. Responsibility was shared so broadly that no individual bore it alone. Look at the structure here: proportional responses, a multi-stage process with room to course-correct, decisions by consensus, and a clear underlying purpose: restoring safety, not revenge. That's not a crude ancestor of justice. That is a justice system. Now fast forward to the first written laws, and the story gets more complicated. The oldest known code, Ur-Nammu's, from Sumer around 2100 BCE, actually leaned toward compensation. Injure someone, pay a fine in silver, restore the balance economically. Then, around 1750 BCE, Hammurabi carved 282 laws into a 7-foot stone pillar, now sitting in the Louvre, and shifted the standard toward an eye for an eye. But here's the part that should really stop you. Hammurabi's code built inequality directly into punishment. Injure a free man, lose your eye. Injure a slave, pay a fine. Same physical harm, different legal weight, based entirely on who the victim was. That is exactly the logic hunter-gatherer bands had spent tens of thousands of years actively suppressing. Their entire reverse dominance hierarchy existed to stop the powerful from ever getting special treatment. Civilization brought predictability and scale, genuine, irreplaceable benefits. But it also wrote inequality into the very definition of justice, something the primitive system had been built from the ground up to prevent. So the next time someone calls hunter-gatherers primitive, remember this. They built a proportional, consensus-based, corrective justice system without a single courtroom, law book, or judge, one that in some ways held the powerful more accountable than the empires that followed it. The gavel came later. The instinct for justice was already fully formed.